Wait, Jason, your
coming
account
in
is
in a couple minutes.
600 LP, right? Your alt.
Yeah.
Are you the one playing War Mothers? It's actually
Yeah.
pretty funny.
Mhm.
Bro,
I see,
oh my
I see.
Atlas,
That's
how long have
you?
you been sitting in the lobby? I feel like you copy pasted that immediately because I hit
Wait,
start
what's
streaming,
your-
boom, paragraph.
Oh,
What's
Atlas
your
is
alt,
like-
Jason? Wait,
It's,
what's your alt name?
Like
Lannister.
Lannister,
I don't.
yeah.
What
I don't
is
think
that-
I've
what
ever
is it
played.
Like
again?
5 minutes. Committed.
Okay.
dude.
Alright, so do you get to just use that account's LP? Where's your actual
No,
LP?
You need
like
to- you need to play your main.
544.
You have
Oh
to
my
play the main?
god, Jason.
Why?
You don't have to
Mm.
play the main, do you?
No, you just play the
You play
alt.
the alt?
Just turn that in your main.
I'll drop in
Well,
Discord, but
The thing is, if you do that, you
I don't
need
wanna
to commit the rest of the season and the year to it. If they have some
it's
kind
in
of
general.
Oh, I
Just
see, I
don't
see,
sit
I
out
see.
loud.
That makes sense.
Gotcha.
Alright.
Leovold's been here for a few. Well, welcome in, guys. We're gonna be talking about some Legends of Runeterra.
Hi,
I
Leo.
know, very surprising. And I'm gonna fix my color balance.
Hello, people.
It's just so easy to win on an alt, you know.
You just don't give
No
a
stress,
fuck,
right?
bro. You know what I'm
exactly.
saying?
Like you're not afraid of losing, and I just keep winning.
But okay, real talk. Yesterday 600 was top 10. Today
Yes.
600 is 17th.
What?
That's
Like-
crazy.
Hold on, I
Yeah,
gotta pull
600
Holy
LP
shit,
is
everybody
17th
plays.
on
You are
ladder.
Right.
Like I don't know if 600 is gonna be safe. Like we have 10 days. Like
Huh.
we have like 11 days, and everybody is playing. Like all the
I'm
top
like
players
plus-
are still laddering.
Well, good.
Yeah.
That is good.
Good.
I was in like bad elo, and then I went plus 200 over the past 2 days, so I'll be there
Let's go.
soon.
Hell yeah, let's go. What are you at right now?
100 a day. Let's go.
I'm at like 400 something, or
You're
I'm
almost
close to
there.
400.
We just touched on it a little bit, but you also have to factor in people from other regions in Smurf. Like when Cephalopod,
Yeah.
he had like both his account in top 16. Like there's only one of them that makes it. So when there's Smurfs, when there's people like from EU that also grind, like all of those kind of get passed down.
I'm, on,
So-
I'm
Okay,
but
honestly
do we
not
have-
sure. There's a lot of those right now. Like
Yeah, I don't think
previous
so. Like-
seasons, we might have like 5, 6, 7. But
These are pretty
this
much
time
all
around-
names I know.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
NA is honestly just like kicking it into gear. Like there's a fight over this top 30 right now.
I think what there
Yeah,
is
I-
like we've talked about this, but I want to say it for the Runeterra show, is Ahri Kennen allows the top players to flex their skills and win
Oh, yeah.
consistently.
Yeah.
Right?
I could attest to that.
And so because a lot of times you're at 500 LP and you're like, fuck, I gotta get 50 more LP. You load up and it's a little bit like flipping a coin. Because you're like, well, like even if I'm like really good and I have a really good read on the meta, you gotta win like what, 4 in a row? Or
Yeah.
you start the train of lose 1, win 1,
Minus-
lose 1, win
Minus
2,
25,
lose 1.
plus 15.
Oh, yeah.
It's so easy to ladder if you're good at that deck, right?
Oh,
Because,
yeah.
Like,
Yes.
You win the mirror every time. Like I beat like Darkness twice. I beat Aggro all over and over. Like you
Mhm.
just beat everything if you're good enough.
I have stats in the mirror from my past games for the grinds that I did, and in mirrors, I'm 17-4. I've lost only the SI mirrors sometimes.
Yeah.
It's
Even
wild.
even when you run in the matchup and you're against the non-SI one and you're like, oh my god, my hand is bad, my draws are bad, it still just like works out.
Yeah.
It just works out. And you're like,
Yeah.
oh, all right, cool.
I played
I've
one
been
today.
Go ahead.
I passed like 1, 2, 3, and then I just played my Wayfinder, and then I won. It's great, you know, fun game.
I was able to pressure their Kennen before he levels with my Go Hard, and that cost them more mana than it cost me, and that was really good. You know, that kind of stuff.
Good exchange all around. They're not playing Senna, so in the mid game, if they're not actually killing you with elusives, you're just gonna outcard them, and at some point they'll run out of interaction.
Yep. You're going low on cards, and you're like, oh man, they're kind of grinding us out. And then he goes sign in Seedling, and you're like, never mind. I have 10 cards again.
I do think
Got
it's
it.
a good thing that everybody's playing in NA right now. It's kind of nice to see that. It sucks because if you've been camping for like a couple of weeks and you thought it was safe, it feels bad to start now.
Yes.
Yeah.
But for the game and in general, I like that it's moving. It has to keep moving.
Mhm.
Yeah, like for some reason, like a month before seasonals, you know, like I was camping like 460 LP, and I was like, yeah, I feel pretty safe right now. And then suddenly, pow!
Were you trying to say
Right,
something?
so-
Aikado.
Oh, is he
Waiting
here?
for Aikado.
Why
Yeah,
can I
he
not
got
hear
it.
him?
Does. I just got here.
Hadn't said
You
anything.
just got here.
Aikado?
Right, you're gonna be Jason
Okay.
Florent.
Welcome
What's up,
in,
the
bud.
balloons?
I'm
Is
the
it your
Jason
birthday?
Florent.
The
You
Jason
are?
Florent. Yeah.
It's your birthday, Aikado?
Dude,
Uh,
that's so pog, man. Happy birthday.
nah.
I hate
Yo,
this.
thank
Like,
you,
Like,
thank you.
Akado's
Bad
had
joke.
birthdays for the past like 4 days. This man's gonna like become 100 if we're not careful.
I'm just farming it, bro. I mean,
And just
Yeah.
farming the
Birthday
primes on
farming
his
time.
multiple
Yeah, right,
birthdays.
yeah.
Subscribe
Yeah, I
to
don't
me
think
on
I've
my
gotten
birthday.
but you know, that's okay.
Oh no, the black bar I made isn't large enough to cover Jason's whole name. It's fine.
We were talking a bit
It's good.
about seasonal cutoff and people having to play. If you have thoughts on that, and the fact that yesterday 600 was rank 9 and now 600 is like rank 17 or something.
It's kind of scary as hell, right?
Yeah.
Everyone's fucking playing. Like, I don't know. I think that a lot of people were feeling safe at like 500, and then they're like,
I was
okay, well
front
the highest
page with
will have to
500
go.
like 6 days ago.
Yeah, it's like the absolute worst we'll have to do is like 550, right? 550 has to
550
be
super
safe.
safe, yeah.
500 is like 50 now, like
It's-
rank 50
yeah,
or something
Jason's
like
at
that.
560, and he's 31st.
What?
Yeah.
600 right now is 17th, right? Like,
It's
So
insanity.
insane.
Everyone's
It's
like, yeah,
wild.
playing
It's
2
pretty
more, and then
fun.
just watching ladder, and then like it moves up and they play 2 more.
It's
What's
actually
funny
exhausting.
Is, like, there's no like extra reason to climb, and like everyone's like, yeah, it's like this ladder system doesn't incentivize people to play, but like what the heck's going on?
Yeah.
Right? What's going on is that there's more than 30 people who are good enough to get top 30 and who want it. So we're actually
Yeah.
having to fight for it for like kind of the first time ever.
And people are like, these don't count for worlds, like people are taking it chill.
For,
No,
for what we know
that's
they
wrong.
might, but
Wow.
like, we
I
don't-
mean,
yeah.
to be fair, I don't really understand why Kevor and Eniamor want 1,000 LP, given that we're not competing for worlds right
Yes.
now.
It's like a
but
fucking
you
sticker.
do what you gotta do.
So the first time I finished rank 1 in the season was against Raptor, and it was worth nothing. But then 5 to 6 months after that, they announced the actual
Yeah.
pro tour. They announced world, right, and the way to qualify, and they actually gave points to rank 1. So like you can't retroactively. It might matter. I'm assuming it
Sure,
won't.
but they literally said they aren't going to do that though this
Yeah.
time, right?
I mean, you never know.
That doesn't mean it's true.
Yeah.
I also
Okay,
actually
fair.
enjoy playing Ahri Kennen
I love
right
playing.
now.
I love playing Ahri Kennen mirror.
It's fun.
It's like so fun.
I
Yeah.
do,
I
oh
will-
god.
Yeah.
I enjoy
Why?
Well, it's like a really deep match, man. Okay. I enjoy playing it when I'm on our version. I don't want to play it anywhere else.
I want to talk about that because I see a lot of people that says Ahri Kennen is boring, and I get their point. And my counter argument to that is not winning is fun. It's for me, those type of decks, I don't feel they're boring because there's always so many decision tree going on. Because starting turn 2, 3, 4, like I have 5 to 6 different things I can do for the remainder of the game, and for me it's super stimulating, and I get to make like all those decisions and like go back on them, analyze if they were correct and things like that. And that type of playstyle I just actually enjoy. So like a lot of people are just like, oh, it's super
Nerd.
boring, it's just a snooze fest. And it is true that I try to not kill my opponents because I think killing your opponent is bad in that deck. But I still find the game super enjoyable. Like I get why people find it's boring, but I think it gets a bad rap, and that more people should be liking it.
I think that any time that a deck is incredibly popular, that like a lot of the top players are playing it, people be like, oh, this is so boring. I don't like watching this. I don't like playing against this deck. And this deck's incredibly fun.
If it was the new deck this
yeah.
week, or it like just wasn't the most played deck, you would be all over this. Like,
Oh yeah.
This would be the coolest thing to happen.
And I mean, the unfun part is, when you're playing ladder at night, right? Like maybe you queue into the mirror like 4 times in a row, and each one's like a 40-minute game, and you're
The OC
playing against
hours.
like the best goddamn players on the server. That's when it's like less fun. But otherwise 10 out of 10.
Yeah, that hypothetical does sound pretty brutal. not
yeah,
gonna
no,
lie.
That hypothetical sounds awful.
That
I mean-
made it in the YouTube video, by the way, obviously, right? And
Yeah.
there's two two schools of thought on that match, because that's the one
Okay.
everyone's commenting on, and it's either like, wow, this is some of the best Runeterra content I've ever seen, this is so helpful, or fuck this shit, bro.
Yeah.
I got to
I'm first
admit,
camp.
I'm on the side of fuck this, bro. Like I like the deck. The deck is fun. It's a cool deck. It does good things. But I'm the control player these days. Everyone thinks of me as like Targon guy, control player. I don't want to play 40-minute matchups. I want to make a big unit and throw it at my opponent's head with atrocity. Like this 50-minute Ahri Kennen mirrors. I'm not here for this.
It's
I
so
think-
great.
I think that they aren't normally like 40 to 50 minutes, right? Usually they're
Aren't
like
they?
20 minutes, I think.
That was one of the
Are you
longest
sure?
arcade mirrors
Which
I've
is
ever
still
played.
pretty
It was
long.
31 minutes, I think.
20 minutes is about what the usually runs to.
It's still
That is
pretty
long.
right?
Okay,
Because
only
our
20.
turns, we have like a lot of decisions to make every single turn, right? And we aren't
Yeah.
killing people super quickly. And it's not an easy deck, right? So I think that a lot of people do play it relatively slowly. But I feel you. I can only like mentally handle like so many mirrors back to back to back
I
where it's like,
agree.
oh
You
my
gotta
god, I
like-
can't do this.
My brain was
It's really
fried after,
rewarding,
like, recording for
But
YouTube.
it's exhausting.
I just like had to step away from the computer. I like made myself a mixed drink and I just sat down. And I was like,
It's like you need a cigarette, right?
Yep.
Like
yep.
I knew the slow burn king would be on my side.
The slow burn king. Bring back slow
Henneky.
burn, bro.
oh my goodness.
just name all your decks slow burn or delver and watch
You know
your
what?
Yes.
burn explode.
Yes, Atlas.
It's slow
I
burn.
made
If
this
your win
deck-
condition is pack your bags.
Yeah, it's
4
yeah,
times.
it burns you. It's just really slow.
I am allowed to complain about the decks I make.
That is true.
Is that how that works?
It is legal.
I think that is how that works. Yeah. Wasn't like the guy who made the nuclear bomb did that or something. So he set the precedent there.
Exactly. Did you just compare Ahri Kennen to a nuke?
Yeah, it's pretty similar, I think.
You-
A lot of similarities.
The
They're
SI
slow. It takes a while to
version.
get there. And then it burns them, but like, you know, not extremely fast because, you know, the travel
Jeez,
time. Yeah, I would call it slow burn.
oh my goodness.
Very similar.
Yikes.
Very similar. So yeah, Ahri Kennen, good. I'm worried I have to play more on ladder.
You probably do.
I hit 620 at 3 a.m. last night and I was like, Pog, done. And now, like,
There's
13,
no
14
way.
hours,
Coming for
15
you.
hours later, I'm like, I gotta
I'm coming,
play more.
Majin.
There's no way 620 is not good enough. You're ranked 5. I
It
can't.
has
yeah,
to be, right?
But
Opium?
560 was like 18, like yesterday.
Yeah, the ladder's moving too fast, man. There's 10 days left. You think 620 is gonna make it? I don't fucking know.
It's
No,
funny.
War Mothers does not beat Ahri Kennen. I do want to hear about your War Mother's journey, Jasensation. You want to talk to us a bit about that?
It's time.
I mean, it wasn't really a journey. I just played 4 games and I won all of them. But it's like kind of crazy because like ladder right now is like, well, at least for me, I've been dodging a lot like these Ennenkari scouts people. Like those are like the most played decks on ladder, but I just don't really see them. So like I'm left with like these Darkness, these Demacia, these like Zill and Xerath, which is also surprisingly popular deck as well. And like I just ramp play like War Mothers on like turn 7-8, and then they don't have deny, and then they lose the game. Like a lot of decks just can't really deal with that right now. And like if you're not killing me, exactly. Like I was playing dragons, so like they're attacking on like turn 6 with like a Siobhan and a Screeching, and I play with 8-8. I'm like sick attack, bro.
I played the
these guys
deck.
just like.
Oh,
Sorry, go ahead.
I
I
played
was
the
just
deck
like,
probably
these
about
guys just
you.
like these guys just get like outbodied, and then like you just like keep getting like 8-8s, like sit through a cloud field and get like a 16-16 Tryndamere or something stupid, and then like what the heck do people do? Like these guys are off Vengeance, these guys are off Ruination, like they don't even run these cards, and
Do you
then
think
like
Do you think it's better
Sorry, go ahead.
just like Cithria combo? Like Matron Cithria?
it's an interesting one.
You do it at about the
didn't
same turn,
really
right?
think about that.
Yeah.
Like turn 7.
Yeah, potentially.
And like Matron Cithria doesn't like auto lose the game to deny?
Ooh, it's kind of smart.
That is
Someone
so
get Duckling
It's
on
like-
the phone.
Because like I think these strategies are like these like really cheesy anti-control strategies. Like I think anti-control is like super strong right now. It's like why you're seeing a Zeralia come back. Like some of these strategies are like really cheesy and like really good. But given that some of these need like obviously avoid like burn or aggro, or deny decks, but like they're like really strong right now.
Yeah. I will say there is like some dumb things that deck can do that aren't just like War Mothers into Cithria. Like you can play Trundle, and then you hit, he gets like +6, +7 attack, and
then
it
you
hits
rally,
you for 12.
yeah.
And then you rally, and then he hits you for 19, and it's like, what can you do about that?
The Trundle
You know?
rally
Yeah.
was
pretty crazy.
because I played the game for like probably 8-9, the deck for like 8-9 games. I lost almost all of them, but it was always like they hit the perfect keywords on like the Arsenal or Pantheon, like the exact perfect ones. And then I was like, oh, I win here as long as they don't have this combination of 4 exact spells. And then it'd be like sharp sight, sharp sight, sharp sight, single, and I'd lose, right? And so it was always like very, very close. But I was very impressed with Ithit Stairs. Very impressed. Like that card was very good, and Tiana was very good.
The buff is real on it. That's there 3 damage.
3 damage
Those are
is
real.
way different, yeah. Especially when you cast it on like turn 7, and then you sit 3 of them.
Yeah, I played against like, you know, the whole peakless peak ramp Acel deck. And like they played like Ithit Stairs like back to back to back. It's like, fuck me, dude. I can't deal with any of this. It's that card's real. That card's really good.
Yeah.
Also like She Who Wanders. Like some decks just
Yeah.
like fall apart.
I
mean,
almost prefer
if
She Who
they-
Wanders to Cithria, I feel like.
Like if you slam She Who Wanders and the Ahri deck doesn't have deny, the game's over.
Kenneky, can you
Most of the
confirm?
time.
So, the context here is I was playing today, and I was playing Ahri Kennen, and I went up against like Lulu, the
Like the Lulu Fizz
Chompers
Yoron Arms deck?
Yeah,
something?
with like Yordle Captain. Anyways, it gets to turn 10, and I'm just playing my hand out, and then the guy plays She Who Wanders because they got it off a Loping Telescope. And I was like, what the hell is this? That's nonsense. I still won the game. I didn't have deny,
You
but I
didn't
still
have
won the
deny,
game.
yeah.
Wait, you won that
You
game?
won the game, yeah.
Yeah,
God,
'cause it's
fuck
Ahri
Ahri
Kennen.
Kennen. Fuck that. That's not okay. You don't get to win that game. Get out. What?
I mean, he was at like 2. I think I just Kennen spelled him or something.
Okay,
But,
alright,
yeah,
fine,
like it.
Fine.
That was turn 10. If they played on like turn 6 because they're like a ramp deck and didn't have deny, it's probably over.
Okay.
Probably.
Yeah.
Alright, I feel a little better then. That's awful.
But it was a bit infuriating.
It's over 9,000.
I have a question for you guys. And Pantheon has been making waves, right?
Yeah.
So like,
Yeah.
it's been pretty good in tournament and even on ladder, and especially when you can ban Ahri Kennen. But I haven't played much Pantheon. Mostly I've played Ahri Kennen, let's not kid ourselves. But Tarek or Shyvana? Why?
Ooh, that's
Explain.
a solid one.
I think I probably had more games of Pantheon than everyone else here.
I have the most. I think I have a lot of Pantheon games. Like
Okay.
I basically only played Pantheon for like the first month of this patch.
Yeah.
But I never played Shyvana or Tarek. I
You
literally
played
just played the
mono.
mono Pantheon.
Yeah. We got a
Or
Or
was
around
or
I have no
it, can
input
be,
here.
it can be part of the conversation too.
Yeah.
But I like to figure out what I want in my lineup because I kind of think I want a Pantheon lineup, but which one?
So yeah, Tarek gives you a much better control matchup, but Shyvana, anytime you need interaction, Shyvana's the better champ. And also, I really think the Shyvana is way better into the mirror. It's way better into something like Lee Sin, in my opinion. And I don't know, like I see the win rates, right? The Tarek Pantheon deck wins a lot more, but I don't know why. The amount of times that I like go Tarek, dude, rally, kill people is like very small.
Yeah.
I
It
rarely
doesn't-
do that.
Yeah.
People can interact with that combo really well most of the time.
Yeah.
And my take on it is that I get that Tarek makes you a little bit better into control, but I think one of the biggest reasons to play Pantheon right now is just because it's a bigger Demacia deck and it beats out scouts, and it's pretty okay into anyone who's trying to be mid-rangey.
Yeah.
And I'm generally in favor of polarizing my decks. When I'm doing lineups, I am generally in favor of being polarized, and I know I'm a little bit alone in that. But I definitely go in for Shyvana because I think Shyvana is just another really solid tool that beats up on scouts. You can grow her and she'll beat up on Sivir. And I'm just a really fan of the tool in the arsenal as opposed to another combo piece, because I think this deck is better when it's playing mid range than when it's playing combo. If I want to play combo, I'll just play Lee Sin.
I do think, however, that the Taric version, and by extension the mono one, is much better at just leveling Pantheon. It's like very easy, it's very natural.
Can we just put Zenith Blade and Shyvana in the same deck?
You can. What you need is the one drop. The one drop helps a lot.
It's really
Saga
hard
Seeker,
to
I
find
think, is the
things.
key here. Saga Seeker, I think it has
Yeah.
to be the key.
Cut
between the
Dragon
two.
Chow. I don't know, man.
I like Dragon Chow.
You
It's
can't
so
do that.
good.
Like, it's too good.
I don't think anyone's doing that.
Saga Seeker into Zenith Blade is like, it's kind of cracked. It's like so nuts.
That's true.
So like playing against it, because I've played like some Pantheon, I've played like some of both, and I think they're like pretty similar playing them. But play against it, I lose a lot more to Shyvana than I do to Taric. Like I don't think I ever lose to Taric. You know, the whole Taric rally thing that just doesn't come up very often, right? And you know, if you do, and he gets like, you know, if you're playing Ionia and like you just palm or deny or will or homecoming, like literally, there's so much interaction for it, right? I think Shyvana's a lot scarier.
Concerted Strike.
Yeah, I think
Morph,
Shyvana,
etc. Yeah, like
Shyvana like flips every single game on like her second token, and like, you know, she's like generating strike spells every single time. I think that's much more scary.
Clutch is kind of a sick ass card too.
Clutch is a pretty good card.
I think if we can spend some time to really refine the Shyvana Pantheon list to what we want it to do, because there is a lot of flex slots in the Shyvana Pantheon one, like a lot. And I think if we take some time to really refine it, I think Shyvana Pantheon is probably the better of the two. Now I don't know about no mono Pantheon because I play good things.
come on, man, come on. Okay, the thing about mono Pantheon, it doesn't do the same thing as Taric, right? Like Taric has like that combo element to it where it likes to set up the rally. Mono Pantheon literally does nothing but scale your Pantheon. You level it on 7 every game and hope you win from there, and that's all it does.
Which is usually enough.
It can be enough, and it's very, very good at that.
Mm-hmm. And also mono Cataclysm, right?
What's up?
Cataclysm, Overwhelm, Cataclysm, big units in.
Yeah,
you play Cataclysm.
Like, there's a lot
that's
of
kind
different
of
things you can kill them with, but
Cataclysm's cute. But like, I don't know if I want to play, you know, the whole coin flip version of Pantheon. I'd rather have a champion that does something. As much as I love the whole, you know, did I hit scout or not? And it's like, oh well.
The champions being redundant threats is very important in the control matchups as well. Like Shyvana or Taric demand answers, and that's why they're able to beat these control decks.
So what I'm hearing is we should be playing Pantheon Asol because you want more threats, right?
Yes.
Does that sound about right?
Because then we put redundant threats attached to our threat.
It's Riven Assault. That's the
Riven
Assault.
Just ask Conch about that.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Runeterra Academy's coming up. It is the playoffs, and it's only one match per week, right?
Yeah.
Single in bracket, one match per week. Very interesting format. Do you guys want to talk about that a bit?
Yeah.
Wait, one match per week? What?
Well,
you mean like one level per week?
No, what, like top 16.
Like this
top
team
8,
versus this team.
Yeah.
You're not playing the entire bracket.
It has to be like top 16, top 8, top 4.
Yeah.
There's no way it's one match.
That's what I meant. That's what I meant. For
okay.
us, right?
Not like 3 weeks to finish
one match for the team per week.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, we'll be done like next year. Don't worry about it. Everybody go take a break.
Kevor, do you want to talk about the format a bit?
Yeah, sure. I really like it. I think it's different than what we did this like past 7 weeks, where it was just like, oh, you guys play at the same time. And I think now, more than the previous format, it rewards like having strong lineup, but having also strong individual players, where it did not did that as much in the normal rounds. And for those that don't know, like the format is both team chooses a player A, a player B, and a player C. It's always going to be player A versus A, and it's kind of a king of the hill kind of matchup. So whenever a player loses, they're done for this. And the team wins when they eliminate the other player C from the other team. So it's possible that like one player just going to 3-0 3 times in a row and just go away with the match, and the other teammate don't even get to play. But it also do things very differently in lineup creation, because now we can do some wacky shit and line up B and line up C, and maybe even line up A if you're feeling frisky. So you have like a weird lineup that you want to slot in into B, and like, oh, I lost my lineup A, it means I probably lost to this or this, right? So I can have like some wacky shit in B that's just gonna 1-0 the guy, maybe win the other one, and then go back to solid things in C. The other way around feels totally fine too. So I don't know. It's the first time we've had that kind of King of the Hill format. I'm used to that from Hearthstone. I played a lot of Last Hero Standing, and basically allows way more than just like bring the top decks. It's still good, but you can do other things, and I like it. That
it is really cool. I'm excited about it, and I think it's going to be a very fun viewer experience as well, which is important, right? Mm-hmm. It's just that's exciting to watch. It's exciting to watch, especially you can make cool graphics and stuff, right? You have all three players, player A, player B, player C, big ass red X when they get knocked out. Like, I don't know, it sounds fun. It sounds like you can make a real event out of it.
It's also really cool that it's like the best of three of best of threes, right? We're playing the players like their decks. Like you everyone has a lineup, and also these are the lineups of the teams, which is kind of cool.
Wait, do we get a ban then? Can I just ban Jordan if I play against?
Wait a minute. Hold on.
Wait, you think you would ban Jordan?
Yeah, you think I'm gonna ban Seth or you? What the
Henneky's
fuck?
Like, this is bullshit.
No, you can ban Shodox every time. What the hell? Shodox is a
Wait, true. Actually, true. We'd think about Shodox.
He has been kind of killing it, hasn't he?
Yeah, no, he's a great player. Correct.
I mean, if we get bans, I'm down to sit out and get carried. Like I'm cool with that. Henneky will kill y'all. I'm not worried.
What do you guys think it'll be the meta game? Like from like A, B, and C. Like you think there's gonna be something that's make more sense like in B or C, or like A is always good?
Are you trying to farm our plans going into week one? Bro,
yes,
what if I don't want to give it up? Come on.
General sense.
So the answer is we haven't had a chance to talk about this in Beautiful Gamers Discord yet. We're actually scheduled to sit down and talk about this right after the stream, so I have no idea.
Yeah. Same here.
Fair.
I can tell you what.
Text.
People will overthink it. I think that's the most probable thing. And I've done something similar. I don't even remember when, but like in some format, some game where we went with the okay, we have a super dedicated lineup to beat something in like seat A, right? And then we have. But what beats that is like burn or this strategy. So in seat B, I think it was actually a fighting game. So it's like, but in seat B, we're going to play all the control decks that beat burn, right? Because burn's the most likely thing that lineup loses to, and it kind of crushes everything else. But then your lineup just loses to a bunch of 50-50s in seat A, and then your seat B's fucked because you're playing like trash that only beats like one thing, and you just get ran over. Yeah,
it's definitely a weird format, right? Like deciding how much you want to polarize your matchups and like how much you want to bet on, well, this lineup only loses to one thing, and it's like, okay, well, what if you don't?
Except
like we are playing card games, right?
Yeah. What happens when you lose a favorable?
If you lose a favorable,
you cry.
You just don't lose,
tears.
Forehead.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Just don't lose.
Just don't lose.
It's like when I talk about making seasonal lineups, right? Like the biggest thing when I talk about making these lineups for these bigger tournaments is that I want to have a plan, but I need to have a plan that 3 good decks work in. I can't have a plan that involves trash decks in a 9-round tournament.
Yeah.
And I think that may come into play in RA as well.
I think it will.
I can have a plan that involves trash decks in like a 5 or a 6-round tournament. I'm down for that.
So maybe seeing this more as like seasonal, because like it's possible that you'll get to play a lot of different matchup with your own lineup. So having something more all around good is probably fine.
I mean, it just kind of depends on what you think your team needs, right? Like, I don't know. If I think that I'm gonna get carried by Tux and Kochua, then maybe I can bring some bullshit that just cheeses one win.
Pretty good call, honestly.
What I'm hearing is bring Poros. I think what I'm hearing is bring Poros.
Poros, War Mother ramp, and something else. And you're in there, man. And then you 3-0
for your lineup.
Oops.
So free. It's actually free.
I'm excited to see
for it.
what we get in Runeterra Academy, and I'm also very excited to see what we get in the Master Runeterra Championship this weekend.
Yeah.
Good
That'll be
week
fun.
for content.
That's
really
gonna
good.
kind of be like that's gonna be, I think, our serious preview of seasonals. Like
Yes.
it kind of was last time you guys did a really big tournament right beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
Nasus Thresh.
Yeah.
But I think that's gonna be our biggest preview of what the seasonal rounds are gonna look like, is looking at that tournament.
I think a lot of people are gonna base what they bring off seasonals on that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially because
I know I am.
Yeah, me too. And it's like the last one. Yeah, the last one was a pretty big indicator for seasonals. But this is a top cut of a tournament with 64 players that already did well. So like, not only is it, you get to see who wins or whatever and with what, but like these are all good players. So I think the field is going to be more concentrated into like really things that are good, things that really work.
I guess talk a little bit.
Oh, go ahead.
Maybe talk a little bit about it. Like you're gonna be streaming it, right?
Yeah. Well, it's gonna be on Swim's channel actually.
Ooh,
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
it
So
is.
you're gonna cast on Swim, like I'm assuming there's a couple casters, and you're gonna like give yourself like I cast the first half and things like that.
Yeah, I think we're switching off. It's like I believe it's Swim and Blevins, and then it's me and Jason.
Cool.
And I think we're. And yeah. So obviously,
how many of us are playing in it? 'Cause I know me and I know Jordan. Did Henneky?
Oh, that's just it.
Well,
I suck.
Henneky,
I
come
also,
on, man.
I also did suck.
I mean,
So I can't
to
see
be
anyone's
fair,
lineup.
like
Smoke.
single Elim's rough.
Single
if
Elim's
I hadn't
brutal,
like
yeah.
spiked the second place,
Oh, yeah.
then I wouldn't be making it, right?
I think I lost
Like-
in round 1 twice and like round 3 twice, and then I skipped
It's
one.
rough out there, man.
I skipped 3 of them, so like I wasn't
Yeah.
gonna make it off points unless I like spiked it, right? So.
I didn't
And I
wake
just
up
didn't
for one
spike
of them.
Honestly,
Yeah.
same. I slept through like half of them, so.
Yeah.
Guys! Guys!
I set my alarm. And
I
was-
qualified and then I still played the other 5. I
I was
lost
too-
a lot, but I played.
I was too
Okay.
busy topping the last couple OLSs. Come on.
I wanted to play.
Yeah, alright.
That's the most like card gamer thing on the planet. It's like when sleeping through is like your actual round 1. It's like waking up on time.
Can we push it back 1 hour? Is that possible?
Our poor like Eastern players would be like, "Come on!"
It doesn't go that late.
It
I
doesn't
hear.
go
It
that
goes
late,
to like
no.
7.
No,
I don't know how
and-
late this one will go though.
Yeah. We're doing it over 2 days though, at least.
Yeah, so it won't be that bad. I don't think. I hope.
Is it
Wait,
still
is it
single
over 2
limb?
days?
No,
No, it's double Elim.
it's double.
We're doing top 64 double Elim, so it's gonna be a big bracket.
Yep.
Holy shit.
Oh
Did
yeah.
you guys heard-
Aikado didn't sign up for this.
Yeah, bro, I wasn't ready. Holy fuck.
It's over 2 days
It's-
though, so.
It's top 64 cut to top 8. Wait, is this is Worlds format, right? So if you
Yeah, but
3-0,
you don't
you're just
stop
in.
after a certain number of rounds. Yeah.
It was 4-0 for Worlds,
It
right?
was 4-0 for Worlds.
4-0,
yeah.
but because we have
Alright.
6 slots from America, so it's gonna it should be around 4-0.
Is that
Wait,
rank
this
one,
guy's-
Are you
Kevor?
guys,
Eight?
so
Think so.
is that how your bracket works? Because if it's a true double elimination bracket, I think that's still true.
I'm gonna be straight 100 with you. I'm gonna keep it a buck. I have no idea.
Let me
Wait,
go
is
to
there
this
a top
page.
8?
Let's see if I can pull it up.
I just
If you're-
show up,
if you're-
man.
Doing top 64 cut to top 8 as a double elimination bracket, like
Does it?
64,
That's the top
Worlds
8.
format.
32, 16,
We're bringing out the
8,
fingers.
4.
It's 4. It's you need at least for a win. I have to think.
Yeah.
But isn't
Make-
4 wins just top 16, and then then there's the
No,
bottom
Like people
class.
coming in from the losers bracket. Too,
Yeah.
So
okay, no, it's not the same as Worlds. Okay, the
We're only
Worlds
taking,
bracket
like-
was smaller.
6 in Worlds too.
Yeah,
Wait,
all right,
so
no,
it
never
doesn't-
mind, never mind.
It doesn't like cut to top 8, right? It's just whoever's like the last 8 players.
whoever's
that
still in the
Yeah.
bracket, because
'Cause it
once
is
you
an
lost
elimination.
your second
Top
round,
8
you're
just
out.
turns into single elim.
Well, like most top.
Oh
8
yeah, I
games.
mean it's top 8. Come on.
So you get like 2
Wait.
lives unless you,
you
lose
get an
past
extra
top 8.
life if you can get into top 8. If
So
you
you get-
die, you get to respawn.
Oh, you get sent to losers
Or top
bracket.
8.
Yeah, and you can win
Once
through
you're
losers.
once you're in top
Yeah.
8, there's no. It becomes just single elim, right?
Okay.
It's not. You're
Yeah.
not still in double elim bracket, I
Oh.
believe.
So it's like
Yeah.
double elim and Swiss had a baby.
Yeah, a
Yeah.
kind of ugly baby, but it'll be fun.
Hey man, whatever works, dude. Whatever works. I was like, I like top 8 in my mind should just always be single limb unless it's an 8-man tournament like Fight Night. I'm just
Yeah.
I've only ever played single elim top 8s in like everything, right? Fighting games, card games, Rochambeau tournaments,
Wait,
like whatever.
hold up. Somebody in chat just said that we're having things be untimed. Can you confirm or deny that?
No, I don't know what's going on.
Aren't you in charge?
No.
Majin?
No, that's Jason.
We're still using like best of 3, right? So like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We better still be using best of 3. I'm not sitting here for 3 hours while people play Ahri Kennen mirrors. Excuse me?
well, I mean, it's like it's a bracket, right? It's not Swiss. So like, whenever someone's ready, you
Wait,
might
wait,
play a little bit
guys.
fast and then wait 2 hours.
Oh, God.
So
Can so like hypothetically in a best of 3, can game 1 take up the whole clock, or is that like physically not
Yes!
possible?
I mean,
Yeah.
Literally,
but that is
yes.
the case
I
for
mean, we're
every-
using the same timer system as
Yeah.
LOR, like
Yeah.
like always use, which I think is flawed. Like we went over that a lot of time. Like I'm not a big fan of the timer system, but
it's perfect.
it is the same for like all the best of 3 tournaments.
perfect. Go get out.
Literally
Yeah.
the best.
Get out of
Best
here.
thing.
But like, I
Damn.
think it's incredibly unlikely, right? Because after your personal clock goes off, like each
Right.
of your turns
Oh,
is like
it's
15 or
eats your
20
ass up.
seconds, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you need to make plays,
So, like,
plays,
It's
plays.
fast.
Maybe if you are trying to, right? You're playing out each of your Kennen spells one at a time, and your opponent is 2. Then maybe your entire game.
If both of you want to held the tournament hostage for a little
could
bit,
do it.
Yeah.
You're just sitting there, like each turn, just bouncing your Navori conscriptor with your Navori conscriptor.
No.
Yo, Jordan, if we meet each other, we can just hold the entire thing hostage.
I will literally kill you and then myself.
Oh,
Just so
no.
we're clear.
If you kill him, you don't need to kill yourself.
I do it anyway! It would be the only honorable option left.
on the topic of content and tournament, you guys have seen that Fight Night America is going to swap on Mondays?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm so
What?
hyped for
I'm
that.
so excited.
Wait, really?
Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
I gotta make sure that's the
Not only that, if you didn't know, it's also going to swap to Riot Lock format.
yes.
Oh, snap. Okay.
Ooh.
Interesting.
That'll be fun. I'm in.
Yes.
Are you
It'll
allowed to
be
talk about
cool to
Fight
actually get to play
Why
Fight
not?
Night again. I haven't gotten to play Fight Night in months just because I don't have Fridays anymore.
One of us won last week.
So he's
Was it
probably in
was it you?
Who?
Was it you, Kevor?
Yes.
It took me a second.
A little flex,
But
I
I also
heard.
think like there's so much content right now. Like the next 2 weeks, like Fight Night, America is on Monday, Europe is still on Fridays. You can watch Runeterra's Academy on Thursday. It's
Brazil's
gonna be
still
the
on
weekend
Friday
for
too,
mastering
right?
Runeterra. Like up until seasonal, there's like something to watch every day.
And
Like,
even
this is-
there's actually 2 things on Thursday right now, which is hilarious.
It's the Runeterra Life
For anyone
tournament
who's
as well.
not in Runeterra Academy, there's a new Thursday tournament happening like every week now. There's a Runeterra Life thing. So like Runeterra is kind of popping off right now. I'm here for it.
So
Yeah.
it's wild to me. I don't know if you guys played in it in that other. I assume not. I think we're all in RA.
No.
Yeah.
It's been
So-
out for a really long time, right?
They picked Thursday to be the day, which there's already another tournament, which like most of the top players are in. That's a decision. But B, it's a double elim, like 64-person tournament happening on a Thursday night. I think they went until like 3 a.m. or some
It
shit.
ended
It was
at
like
2:45
it was
a.m. I
wild.
think. Monty
was
said
really long.
they casted for like nine hours total. It was only like 64 players. And I joined that tournament because I thought it was on Wednesday. I'm like, yeah, I'll practice for RA. So, and then I realized it was Thursday. So I just didn't check in. But the site they used, there was no actual check-in. So if you signed up, you were just in. And I'm just waiting for our RA round to start last week. And like some people add me, I'm like, must be our opponent. It's like, yo, we're playing. Sure.
Okay.
And I'm like, but I don't recognize the name. Like, are you him or him? No, it's this tournament. Well, you win.
Congratulations.
Yeah, but they didn't drop it.
GG,
So for
bud.
the next 2 rounds after that, I got some random ads again. I was like, oh yeah, we're playing. It's great. Like, I hate to tell you,
No.
but
Yeah.
I kind of dodged that bullet because I did not think it was going to be for like 9 hours tournament. I would have not have done that.
Mhm.
Wasn't like
Yeah.
a 9-hour tournament that started in like PM.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
started
like
at 8 p.m.
8 p.m. or something.
That's insane.
God, that would go until
That'd be miserable.
5?
I was just really surprised the decision making there. It definitely was something.
I believe next week they said fuck double elim.
Yeah,
mean,
of course.
that-
You have to.
I hope so.
You have to.
I think
You have to
anybody-
imagine, yeah.
They need to act
Anybody can
something.
tell you that, right?
Yeah.
Fight night lasts like 5 hours, and there's
Yes.
only 8 people.
My
right?
first fight
Like-
night, I did that. I was like, all right, so I'm going out with friends at like 8. Tournament starts at like, I don't know, 4 or something. I'm fine. And then I was in the finals, and I'm like, it's like 8:30. There's 8 people.
That's
Why is this taking so long?
It's like, what? There's a bracket reset?
Yeah, it's like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, this isn't like a fighting game where like our sets are done in like 15 or 20 minutes. Like this shit lasts a while.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
I
Especially, like,
remember
yeah.
my
You guys
first night.
need to play more
my-
decimates. Y'all need Noxus.
Okay, here's the thing: you play something aggressive, and then you go into fight night. Look, the first fight night I played in, it was during a Felios meta, okay? And I went through to grand finals, through the winners bracket, and then I sat there for 2.5 hours while Majiinbae finishes his damn Felios game. Like, what the hell is that?
You're just here streaming, or like watching the restreams. Like,
I don't feel bad about
Yeah,
that. I had a blast.
It was a fun finals, but yikes.
But yeah, you literally, if you make it through to grand finals from winners bracket, you literally sit there for 2 hours.
yeah,
It's
yeah, I can
insane.
confirm.
True.
which I mean,
That's true.
you get to like watch the other games. It's not that bad.
It's pretty bad.
It's pretty.
Do you
bad.
remember
It's not
the-
that
It's pretty
bad.
It's pretty.
Do you remember the DreamHack events?
Yeah.
The
I do
DreamHack
not.
events were late too, and like they were like some double elim bracket, like 128 double elim or something like that. And if you went through winners finals, you would sit there in the middle of the night for like 4 hours, and like what the?
Just
hell
set an
is
alarm.
that?
Just like go to sleep, set an alarm, wake up, play more
Oh,
Runeterra.
Well, that's the
I'll be
problem. Is
back.
you might be wrong because it could finish
Exactly.
quick. You could run into a
Oh,
2-0-2-0
no.
and then you're fucked, right? And so you have to just sit there.
Which is why, by the way, Mastering Runeterra this weekend, splitting it across 2 different days. If you hit top 8, you don't have to worry about it until the next day. That is a
You have
great
to do it. Yeah.
decision.
And it's also why
It's
that
fine.
it was single elim. It was the only
Yeah.
choice. Right?
There's
So
no way
we're-
we could do 250
We're
people.
consistently
Yeah,
200
totally.
between 200
I mean,
and 300 players. So
we could
Too many
we could just do what OLS does, but that's okay.
my problem.
Hey,
with
How
that-
long's
Hey.
OLS?
Shh. Shh.
OLS is
Like,
like Swiss,
it's-
right?
Oh, yeah, that's
Yeah, they
Swiss,
just do
right?
Swiss. They just do
Swiss-
like 8 rounds
how-
of Swiss and then cut.
How many
I-
players?
I can't do 11 rounds. It's just me and Jason.
I mean, they
right.
also do it over 2 days. They also do it over 2
Oh,
days. right?
okay,
They do
yeah,
seven.
Yeah.
like
And
'cause-
since we chose Sundays, right? You can't really do it over 2 days. I think I really liked that it was Sundays. I would have never played it if it was Saturdays. I just couldn't. And single item was just the best choice.
it is. I know it's not the
Ah.
most competitive, but if it's every single week and there's 6 of them and you can accumulate points, and I wanted to play it,
Yeah.
I would prefer it to
Yeah.
be single elim.
So
And I
the,
hate
the,
single elim.
the variance is reduced by the number of tournaments instead of the number
Mhm.
of rounds in a tournament. So you can play like
Yeah,
6 tournaments,
exactly.
and like maybe you low rolled in all of them, but then that's just like you would have low rolled the double LM tournament also.
I guess that's an interesting way to think about it. Like, as long as you're willing to look at it as all 6 rounds are kind of just 1 or 2 tournaments, then it's fair. Because if you think about it, even something like OLS, right? OLS runs usually every other weekend or a little less than that. So if you think about the single elim thing as what if we were just running 3 tournaments, right? Then it actually, I don't know. As someone who also kind of hates single elim, it actually still makes some kind of sense. You just need to kind of
Yeah.
adjust your brain a
Yeah.
little.
Mm-hmm. It's also tough for us as the tournament organizers. I know a lot of people don't have experience organizing tournaments, but like it's a fucking hassle. And there's like 4 of us. It's like me and Jason, Sparkling Ice Tea who's producing, and like Gregory who's running the tournament, or someone else who's like running the bracket. And sometimes we only have 3 of us. And then when you have a fire to put out, and there's like, and everyone's already like completely stretched thin, we're trying to fix the problem while casting the match. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
brutal.
What I'm hearing is that you need someone to be a mod. But,
Kind of, but it's like a little more involved than a mod. You know what I mean?
yeah,
hmm
I got you.
Fair.
I guess the real problem is that you can't. I mean, it depends, but the issue that I see is that you really can't have someone who's playing in the tournaments have authority over the tournaments.
That is correct. Yes, that is
Right.
correct. Maybe next time, ask is it possible to low roll a single limb tournament? I saw you played a little bit more on ladder just to pass me. Don't think that slipped by me. Mr. Number 4. Mr. 627 when I have 622. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't. Maybe next time. I don't know if you guys have watched his stream, but that motherfucker, like the amount of knowledge he has on like who's playing at what times and like how much they've been playing in the last week is wild. He watches that fucking
What?
ladder like a hawk.
Who does?
It's
Me?
wild.
I'm sure he's
Maybe
on
next time?
Runeterra.ar
Yeah.
and just like, okay, this guy just played like 5 games. Like this
He
time,
probably
like, he knows.
downloads the
He
Riot
knows.
API himself.
Yeah, he
Oh
looks
my
through.
God.
He looks through Runeterra AR and he's like, this person's deck changed. This person's deck changed. This person's deck. It's like, bro, who looks at this? What the fuck?
I did.
That's crazy.
Maybe next time does this, or I do that?
Maybe next time does.
Okay, 'cause I was
MNT.
like, I also do that, but not to that extent, I feel like. I do it honestly more for content. Because I'm like, please somebody play something interesting. So I can make a video about
That's fair.
it.
Speaking of something interesting, like last week in Mastering Runeterra tournament, I think Xerath Zillion won.
Yeah.
And I want to say out there, I think this deck is trash. Convince me it's good.
I agree.
No, I will not.
Okay.
I like
None of
I
us
don't
will
get
do
it.
that.
I think it's
We all
like, it's
hate it.
not the best. It's not tier 1, but I really
I mean,
enjoy it.
it's
I
like
hate that
somewhat
deck.
like it's something like you drop Arsenal and sometimes your opponent just can't deal with it.
Kind of like some
But,
other deck I
outside of
know.
that, I just don't get it.
It's like,
I think
Alright.
it's like
Roji.
aggressively fine, right? It gets to run
Okay, it's okay.
deny. It gets to run minimorph. It does like cool things with Xerath, like the whole Xerath lock, and like
Xerath
sometimes
lock's
it just
kinda
actually
cracked,
wins the game.
I'd
Right?
rather be on
It's not like-
the Malphite.
Terrible. It's like
different
fine.
lineup table. Different matchups.
Is it though?
Yeah.
Xerath
I
can
mean,
deal
I
with
would
these
also
elusive
rather be
decks
on
like pretty
Malphite, but-
easily. You cast Roiling
In
Sands
what
and Xerath, and the game is
universe?
like over.
Wait, Xerath
Yeah,
gets
but-
to be in play and matter? Since when?
I
Since-
agree.
Yeah, it
agree
does.
about that. But your card selection it's okay.
Your cards
It's
are
not-
just weaker
it's
in
not
Your
general.
up
cards
there.
are weaker in general.
So you get Rolling Sands and Xerath, which is an amazing combo. And once you get that even higher, as the Ahri Kennen pair, I'm like, oh, this game's gonna be a nightmare, you know?
Mhm.
But you don't get that, like you get that less than 50% of the times, and when you don't get that, like it's a race to Arsenal, and you're just scrambling through the mid game. Like I've seen people on like
Yeah.
6+3, and they're like, pass. I'm like, it's just stuff, and like pass. I'm like, okay, I take the pass. They're like, oh, I get you got to spend your 7 mana, and I just did nothing.
Mhm.
Because
To
like
me-
when you don't get to like Desert Naturalist, a mid game board, you're like doing jack shit.
To be fair, they do strong things, right? They get to run the Rite of the Arcane, which like Rite of the
Mhm.
Arcane
So
with
good.
Xerath, like
So good.
blows up an entire fucking board. And I think that there's a certain amount of points that you get off of playing Xerath, and people just like count
Fucking
wrong,
up.
and like that's just like, oh wait, this is dying, or like you shoot their weakest thing, and you know the next weakest thing gets hit with 3. I think Xerath's a really strong card. I think is what I'm getting
Yeah,
at. I think
yeah.
Xerath is really
Yeah.
strong. But yeah, it's like the deck's fine. It's fine.
The Arsenal's crazy too, and especially like when you play against these control decks, especially things like Vengeance and like I don't know if you're like playing
Hourglass
Sentinels and you
him.
actually have to just shoot things at it. The Hourglass is
Nuts.
insane. You
Hourglass
just keep
is
it up.
nuts.
Our guys is
It's
2
so
mana
cheap.
deny against them.
And then it
So,
comes
yeah.
back, and then it's like an 8 impact unit, and you just die.
Guaranteed spell
And then
shield
how
on it.
about the Jace
Yeah.
Lux deck that's been popping off?
Yeah, that's another
The
like
what
just
now?
kind of bigger Demacia deck.
I want to try it out.
It's good.
but
It's been
seems
doing
good.
what?
It has
Uh,
good.
it-
It has
it-
good stats for
Dave was in
sure.
the
Dave's been
final
slowly
one.
climbing the ladder with it for like weeks now, I think.
I think like there's a decent play rate behind it. There's like a pretty good win rate behind it too. So I'm
Mhm.
interested to try it out. See what's about.
Jace Lux.
It's good.
I
Yeah, it's the
posted a
PNZ
link,
version.
or
I like
posted
it.
a deck list in their Discord somewhere.
Mhm.
Lux is still
Huh.
like a really fucking good
She's
card.
really
It's
good.
like what it comes down to. And then Jace, like,
Oh, Jace
he does cool
Aftershock.
things.
Not Aftershock, but
If you
Shock
get
Mop?
both of them on the
Shock Mop.
board and your opponent can't deal with them, which happens way more often than you think because their numbers are at really good spots. Right, Lux comes down with barrier. Jace has 4. You're playing sharp sights. Also, your other units, like the 3 mana 4 Demacia guy, require things to your opponent has to cast things to get their stuff through that, right? Because the 4 health is like pretty big, which opens them up to things like Jason Lux. And if you
Yeah.
ever have Jason Lux on the board and you have 6 mana, the game's over. You just won. Like, people just can't beat that.
Yeah.
You're copying shit. Lux is giving you multiple beams. Like, it's nuts.
That's a
homecoming
cool
or deny, and they're just like, haha, and then I lose.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, like I'm just gonna deny this 6-mana spell. I let the first one through, and they're just like back to back, flip both champions, like.
Oh no.
I'm looking now. This seems like the most polar deck of all time. Just scrolling through the stats, like it has like a 29% win rate against like Ahri Kennen, and then it has like an insane win rate against scouts, which makes sense.
Yeah.
But
I mean, you get
that's
big
an
guys
interesting
out
thing
there.
to think about.
And Sergeant is still like a really fucking good card, right? And like Port Demacia is pretty good. And this deck has like a lot of reach, like a surprising amount of reach. Because like if you take, 10 damage early, and then J Shock Blast does 6 damage, and if they're getting double lasers, that's a ton of damage. I think the deck's like pretty solid.
I've died a lot to single combat or concerted stacked with laser.
Yeah.
Just burning.
That seasonal game.
Yeah,
It looks
that
fine.
Was, that was
It
such
looks
a
trash.
crazy ass game, though. That might be the most intense game I've ever played.
It looks trash on ladder,
That
but
was nuts.
it looks
Yeah.
playable in turn.
It's the same thing as Pantheon, right? You bring it into
Yeah.
your lineup and you ban Ahri Kennen and you fuck shit up. Like, oh, you're playing a Demacia deck that's smaller than me? I kill you. Like, and that's what it does.
Yeah, that's true. If you want to beat scouts, it definitely has its place.
Mhm.
I like beating scouts. Beating scouts is fun.
I hate losing to scouts more than I like beating scouts. And it is different.
I hate playing scouts.
Scouts is such a weird fucking deck because like if you look at its matchup tables, it
So
looks like it
good.
beats everything. Except you remember for like a second that any of your bad matchups are literally unwinnable. Like any of these bigger Demacia decks like just fucking own you.
Someone
you just,
wounded
like,
White
drop
Flames and
poorly.
Gems on 3 and you're like, ah! Like, I can
Yeah.
never attack again!
White Flame's
Like
huge.
Radiant Guardian.
Radiant
Like, what do
Guardian,
you
you
do?
don't draw MF. And you're like,
I'll
what am I
beat-
doing
I'll beat
again?
that Lee Sin
Yeah.
player and drops the white flames.
Yeah.
Can't attack with
No.
anything.
Scouts doesn't beat Lee Sin anymore. Like
No.
White Flame's kind of a fucking house.
It was always
Like-
much closer than people thought it was. After Rally
I
got
agree, I
nerfed
agree.
to 4,
Mhm.
I think that matchup got really close. Because yeah, if you stop the
I mean, I
Rally,
agree, but-
these Dragonlings are nuts. We started playing Sonic Waves
Not
to
if they're
deal with
getting
misfortunes.
gunned down.
What's up?
Not if they're getting shot by the MF. Like they don't
Yeah,
do
yeah.
that
Which is why
much.
we play like 2 to 3
I
Sonic
think-
Waves, right?
Yeah, Sonic Wave.
The
is,
problem
like,
was
the big
always
thing.
you had to remove MF.
That was
and
the
if
problem,
they could protect
yeah.
MF, they would win.
Mhm.
But yeah, that was the whole matchup. But now you just play White Flame, and it's big, and they lose.
That is generally how it goes, yes. Which I'm happy about. Lee is kind of coming back. In a way. Not on ladder, because
Yeah,
that sounds fucking
yeah.
miserable.
Trash on ladder, trust me. But
We've
I
seen him
think
in a couple tournament
tournaments
lineups do
it's
quite well.
okay.
The problem is that Lee has serious issues with getting hit by like side damage from a bunch of things right now.
Mm.
Because there are so many decks that are just good into control kind of accidentally. Like you can play Sivir and that's pretty okay into Lee. You can play Scouts and I still think Scouts is favorite into Lee.
Yeah, I'll fight
You can play frickin' I don't know Kindred Viego. At least it goes well. I guess I'm dead. Like I don't know.
This
It
one-
still
This
feels
is the
really
smoke
awkward.
screen. This is the classic smoke screen you guys throw up every goddamn week, and Lee Sin still keeps topping tournaments. You can't. How many times does he have to top a tournament before we're like, hey, Lee's still pretty good?
Yeah, I think Jasen.
I'm not saying it's bad, okay? Don't hear me saying it's
I
bad.
feel like every single time you do say it's bad.
He
This
always
is
says it's
smoke
bad, and he also always says he's gonna bring Lee Sin to the next tournament.
The last 2 tournaments, I brought 9 Decimates and a bunch of fucking SI decks, so I don't know what you're talking about.
I always play Lee, man. It always comes back around for me. I'm like, even if it's not good, I like copium myself. I'm like, it's fine.
He is my baby, and I'll always be on the copium.
Mm-hmm.
I think Lee banning Ahri Kennen is like super well positioned right now. I think that it's beating a lot of the control decks. I think it's beating a lot of the mid-range decks. Like even if Sivir is like technically a bad matchup, it's not a bad matchup.
It's not.
like
Playable.
super fucking winnable.
Yeah.
Like,
What
no,
I'm worried
I don't
about
buy it.
with Lee Sin, because I haven't really played it. I played Lee Sin a total of like 4 games this season, and I lost all 4. They were way earlier in the season. But the problem I was having was I was running into Shyvana Pantheon and going, hell yeah, Demacia, bad, good matchup. And then they just concerted strike me into oblivion, because I have to react to their shit because it's so fucking big. And they just cast Dragon's
Concerted
Clutch.
Strike is a really good card, and that's how Sivir beats Lee Sin too.
That is correct.
And
yeah.
But Sivir's not as big of a deal because Sivir
no.
doesn't have like big shit, right? So like you don't care most of the time.
Yeah, and they usually don't have Overwhelm. And like when they do have Overwhelm, you know, you could play around the one Absolver turn, right? But like if they just Dragon's Clutch their 3 dragons, you're like,
Dragon's Clutch is pretty good. Yeah.
Dragon's Clutch is a good card.
Okay, I'm scrolling through Runeterra AR right now in the stats page, and Scouts is the most played deck, and then for every other deck it says their best matchup and their worst matchup, right?
mm-hmm.
It in every deck, Scouts is either the best matchup or the worst matchup.
when you look at that, yeah.
That's super
That's funny.
Except for like some like weird aggro decks, right? Aggro is around like the middle-ish, right? For Scouts.
I'm scrolling through. I'm like 25 decks down, and it's that case for everything.
No,
it's a factor also of being
No.
the most played. It's a factor of being the most played deck, so you're gonna see that more often.
Yeah, like there's no way Scouts is better than like I don't know FD or R into like spiders.
I'm not even sure that's true. Scouts is really
Scouts
good in
is like
spiders.
super favored in the spiders.
That
Is it
might
more
not
favored than
actually be
Fielder?
true.
That's crazy.
It's like 70-30 or something, right? It's something
There's
disgusting.
no way it's only 70-30 for Fielder. Anivia, come on. There has to be something better.
Maybe there's
Spiders.
like X
This-
number of games required to be played.
This cannot be right. I'm scrolling down.
Spiders' worst
Shyvana
matchup is
Pantheon.
Scouts.
2,500 matches, best matches, Ahri Kennen. Bullshit, dude.
I think it's heavily weighted towards the decks that play more games. They're gonna appear
Yeah.
more often into best matchup and worst matchup.
Sure.
Like it's everywhere is just Ahri Kennen and Scouts in one of the two squads, so just because they're the most played deck. It is the meta, but like those worst and best matches things, like they're just not relevant. I feel like like there's no way that like Ahri Kennen best matches Darkness 800 game 50.07% win rate. Like what is this? Like,
Yeah.
That sounds right.
That sounds right. They have it in reverse half the time by mistake. That sounds correct. Yeah. Honestly, so like straight up 100%. If you're going into a tournament and your lineup is not automatically banning Ahri Kennen, are you making a mistake?
I think you could beat
No.
Ahri Kennen.
No, it's
I
beautiful.
think it's beatable.
I wouldn't want to be on the plan that's trying to beat Ahri Kennen when it's someone that you know is good with the deck. I think that most of the bad matchups are just considered bad matchup because people don't know how to play the weird lines and what matters and doesn't matter in a given matchup. And I think it's such a strong deck that it can win basically anything. So there is bad matchups and there is things that I don't want to be playing against. But if you tell me, oh, you bring Ahri Kennen tomorrow in a tournament and people are going to try to beat it, I'm like, bring it on. I'm still going to bring Ahri Kennen. I think when you don't bring Ahri Kennen in the lineup, you're inting yourself, is what I'm thinking.
I think if you're trying to play into Ahri Kennen, that can't be the only thing you're doing. And there's not a lot of lineups that like that's the only thing they're doing, of course. Like Scouts will try and beat other things like FTR or whatever it is. But like if the only thing you're gonna try and do is play against Ahri Kennen 18 times during seasonals and say you're gonna come away with a win, I'm not betting on you, sir. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm fine leaving it up. Like even myself, I'm considering lineup where I don't mind leaving it up, but I'm never gonna try to beat it. Like I can leave it up because I'm playing the SI version, right? So like worst case, like I'll play SI mirror, but otherwise I'll be favored in the mirror if they don't ban the mirror. And my other decks, I'm gonna assume are maybe gonna win one and lose one versus Ahri Kennen, and I'm gonna try to do other things. I'm not gonna try to go like the full TF Nami route, where like you have your own Ahri Kennen TF Nami, a weird third deck that's trying to kill it. Scouts, like
So
what is that lineup?
as far as like actual decks that counter it, because I feel like there's a lot of bad matchups. Not like a lot, but like there are several decks that I think are favored into Ahri Kennen. But every time I tell my chat like this is a bad matchup, they're like, "Well, actually, Kevor says." And I'm like, "Okay, so what are actually bad?"
I want some
matchups?
Kool-Aid. I would say actual bad matchups are TF Nami, Azirelia, Scouts, but not as much as people say.
Maybe like Stony Scouts.
I actually
Stony Scouts, super bad matchup.
I always
House
beat
normal?
Stony Suppressor. I don't know about you guys, but like when my opponent plays Stony Suppressor, I'm like, thank God they're not putting pressure on me. And then I just play Wayfinder and they can't attack through me.
Yeah, that's actually
It's
correct.
just like
but
eventually you
I
just get rid of it.
Yeah, I prefer playing in 2 normal Scout than Stony Scout.
I
but
lost to
both-
Scouts twice today. I don't know, man.
I
but
do think the
but
Scouts
those
matchup is
three
not
decks, yeah, those 3 decks that I just said, I believe are almost the only one that I say is actually like.
I think
If that's
Nightfall
the
is
whole
not
lineup,
bad.
Nightfall's pretty rough,
maybe
yeah.
I like Nightfall for this
Nightfall
version.
Nightfall does
I don't
good.
hate
Have you
them.
tried casting Palm?
It is very good.
Fighters,
If we're-
fighters do
if
fine.
this is going to be the whole conversation. Is us giving bad matchups, and Kevor's like, I win that, I win that, I win
This is
that.
true, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Actually,
I
most of
think
the time
that's
he's just
true.
gonna say, "Have you tried casting Palm?"
Yeah.
Like every match.
No, true.
Just draw
true.
go hard, dumbass.
All right, are we
Call
wrapping?
Nightfall.
Yeah, I think we should probably
I'll
wrap it
make
up
it
pretty
work.
soon.
All
But
right.
yeah, I am with you, Kevor. I think like all the matchups that are bad are usually not that bad, but the ones we listed are the ones I lose to the most. Right?
So TF Nami Scouts.
I lose to
and
TF Nami
Aziralia.
Scouts, Nightfall, Spiders. Right? Those are the ones I lose to the most.
Yeah.
Iceborne or real spiders?
Real Spiders.
Real Spiders.
Iceborne Spiders.
I want to play. I want to
This
play you
one's
guys.
probably
Ahri
pretty
Kennen
tough,
versus
too.
Spiders aggro. I want to play against
I feel
good
like that
spider
matchup's
players.
like 50-50.
Yeah, me too.
I haven't played it since we put Mord back in.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else we want to cover really quick?
Nah.
Well, watch all the tournaments coming up. There's so many things.
Yeah.
So many things.
Uh,
Good content.
Normally, I'd continue stream here, but I'm going to have to end it because we are going to do some scrimming for Runeterra Academy. And I got to keep shit on the down low. We're coming for the
But
crown.
just
Peace
stream
out,
that. That's
everybody.
like the best content.
Good luck, guys.